So, your first full week back, just how's it been?
Good. Always, I think, better when you've won a game of football. So naturally, there were, I think, some smiles on faces and a nice atmosphere around the place. But obviously, just trying to get more messages into the players, maybe a little bit different in terms of what they've been used to, the way that just training's been. Like Monday, for instance, they did. Everyone did some training at least. We're going to try and up probably the intensity, and that's looking at the data at least of what they're doing, but at the same time conscious of can't jump, go from sort of 10 miles an hour to 100 miles an hour, because then people will definitely break down. We've got to try and keep people fit, but overall been really impressed with the players' attitudes and applications. So we're getting close to that point now of trying to deliver when it really matters, but the hard work and the information starts on the training pitch.
So you transfer deadline day yesterday, just the one player coming in, Jack Hinchey. Just tell me a little bit about him.
Jack's a very mature individual, plays with that maturity. He knows the game very well. I think you can see that. He keeps the ball extremely well. He's got a good range of passing when he gets the opportunity to demonstrate that, and reads the game very well. So I think just very intelligent is the biggest thing. Very well thought of at Brighton. Character-wise, he's captain. I think that says a lot when you get. I know someone's got to be captain, but all the background checks we've done on him, that shines through, and that's what we want. We want good people. Yes, of course, they've got to be able to play football as well, but he fits that profile that we're looking for.
Positionally wise, obviously a midfielder. Where do you see him kind of slotting into your formation?
I think he could play as a sort of the defensive midfield player. I think that's probably the easiest way to describe it so everyone understands what I'm saying. There's lots of different terminology around these days. Or if we flipped it in midfield and kind of played with two more sort of holders and one more attacking in front, he'd be one of the two holders. So mainly that, the middle of the pitch, trying to dictate play, get on the ball, but also defensively giving us some security in front of the two centre-backs.
Obviously quite a quiet transfer. I know you obviously weren't here for the whole of it, but are you happy, satisfied with the squad and how it's shaping up for you now?
I think you're never happy as a manager or head coach. You always want more. And I'd said it from, I think, arriving. I would have liked to probably have brought 3 or 4 in if possible to help the lads that are already in place. But it wasn't to be, and what I did say is we weren't going to do things for the sake of it, and it became clear that was going to be difficult to probably get the amount of players that we would have, in an ideal world, liked. I think what I've already seen, I think you touched on it, while it was only one game, kind of seen a different side to a few players, and what we have got at the minute is a pretty healthy squad, which we've got to hope and keep his fingers crossed remains the case, because I know that's impacted earlier in the season with players getting some injuries that perhaps hard to not get in terms of contact, but we've got to try and keep the players fit and healthy while at the same time pushing them. So I am happy with what we've got, but like I said, I think it's important, really important, that we try and keep them fit.
Aiden OBrien came back off his loan from Sutton. Weren't sure if he was going to go back out. Is he in your future plans?
Yeah, he'll be part of the squad now. It'd be my decision, obviously, whether he's straight involved in terms of the match day squad or not. But he's definitely available and will be treated the same as every other player in the squad. So there's no issues with certainly me and Aiden. And I think got the sort of feeling that kind of that being blown out of context a little bit. So all I would ask is, the fans and everything, is get behind him the same as the rest of the players if he is on that football pitch for us.
Just a quick injury update. How's everyone coming through this week? Obviously great to see Danny Doe back out after his injury. How's he feeling, and just a bit of an update? Yeah,
I think they all are, maybe training, like I said, has changed a little bit. So there's been a bit of stiffness around, but we've got a good medical team with lots of bodies in there, and lots of people on the sort of beds getting massages. So we're hoping that they're all good to go. No injuries to report. Elliot Bennett trained yesterday. Only been out a couple of weeks, but we'll have a bit more sort of discussion around whether or not he's involved or not, but it's certainly moving in the right direction. So there's only Tom Flanagan out, along with obviously George, who's a longer term one, and that's what I'm saying. At the minute we're in a good place, and I hope that can continue.
Yeah, fantastic away support last weekend. Are you looking forward to getting back in front of a home crowd this weekend?
Yeah, again, I think I mentioned that in the first press conference when I came back to the club, and we had some really special times previously, and I'm hoping for the same. I think the home form in the main's been good. We've got to try and maintain that, but you know, I asked the fans to make noise. It's on us as well, of course, to try and give them something to cheer about. It's a bit of a chicken and egg scenario sometimes, and I appreciate fans want to be entertained and they want to have something to cheer and get behind. But sometimes when it is tough going, you know, it always helps if the fans are getting behind the players, because I think it can help them find that extra yard. You know, whether it's to make a forward run, whether it's to make a tackle, whatever it is. Because we're all in this together, and we had a really good result last week. I think a good performance as well, but it's one game. You know, I'm not certainly getting carried away with it. We're still in a position where we have to be honest in terms of the table and how tight it is. So again, we're going to need everyone together. That's the biggest thing, togetherness, and that's here at the training ground, staff, players, but it spreads beyond that in terms of the fans, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing them and seeing them get behind the team.
You spoke about training, obviously playing in a different formation to what they've been playing most of the season. How much do you have to work on that change? Is it kind of going back and relearning, or is it just, how do you approach that?
I think each player will be different. Some will have played in that sort of formation previously, some it might be totally new to, and even within a certain formation that gets laid out, you can still have different tactics within that. So I think it's just trying to get the players to understand what we're after, and that's what I was really pleased with last week. So on the back of 2 days' work, I thought they took a lot of information on. I was in there, and some of the meetings were longer than I would like personally, but we've got to that initially. But hopefully that will start to dilute as we go along, providing they show that they are taking it on board, and you know, without sort of passing it over to them, but it's them that go out on the pitch. We said that we can set them up so much, we can tweak things in game, but if they're doing the right things and can get on top of the game, then it'll be the opposition that perhaps consider changing. So they've been great on that, like set plays, things, they've been bright, again, took information on, and if they maintain that, then it makes our job a little bit easier.
We're just finally looking ahead to Cambridge, so only one place different in the league. You know, how are you feeling going into that one?
Yeah, I think it'll be a tough game. They're involved in a lot of tight games. Their defensive record's good, and probably when you look at some of the data around it, they don't give up many chances. So we understand that there'll be times we'll have to be patient. At the same time, we've got to keep the back door shut, so to speak. They brought Macaulay Bonnin, Gibbons as well. So there might be a couple of changes, but I don't see too many. As I think I put in my programme notes, came up against Neil earlier in the season at Grimsby when he was at Gillingham. It just shows how football can change very quickly. Both got sacked and have moved up the league, which is a bit odd, I accept that. Good guy, but obviously I want to see if we can get the better of him tomorrow.